guys, Real Talk with Kelsey and Rachel here, minus the Kelso. He's been sick for a few days, and so just me here. And I guess I just wanted to talk a little bit about boxing in Texas. And so here's what I got for you. You know that Kelsey and I live in Texas. I was not born in Texas. I was born in California. Neither of my parents are born in Texas. I grew up with actually an anti-Texas bias. I remember moving to Texas when I was 6 and being so upset about it. Not like upset because I was never the kind of kid that showed my emotions or expressed displeasure. But I remember being really down and I just couldn't believe that we were moving to old Texas. And I remember growing up and I would never say the word y'all. And it got really hard as I got older because you pick up like who you live around, right? I had a bias growing up. I have since, as an adult, realized that it's pretty ridiculous to have a bias like that. Just like I know some people who, like for example, having a bias against people with an accent is really ridiculous because an accent has no bearing on your intelligence. It just doesn't. Now you might say if somebody has a really strong accent, maybe they haven't traveled the world as much, and so maybe you could do something from that. But I gotta tell you, there are brilliant people who maybe, if you're poor or some other reason you haven't traveled the world, you can still have an accent and be brilliant. So I realized that I had a bias like that, whether it was against people with a southern accent or against people with a really strong, let's say, northeastern, like one of the accents up there, maybe Boston or Jersey or something like that. And I just realized how dumb it was of me to have that accent. Can you imagine, judging somebody based on their accent? It's just ridiculous. So, all that said, come back to Texas now. The boxing community just has this, bias against Texas. And here's what I'm going to tell you. The facts are, have there been mistakes made in Texas? Yes. Regarding the commission, regarding refereeing, yes, mistakes have been made. Have there been mistakes in boxing the world over in these areas? Absolutely. We know that boxing isn't tightly managed because we don't have a single overarching organization that takes care of things. We have bits and pieces and everybody just trying to figure it out and make a living, right? And then you throw in there maybe some unethical people and it gets a little bit harder. Here's the thing though, when something goes wrong anywhere outside of Texas, it's like, oh, that's boxing, and we all get that because it's a common thing in boxing, right? When it happens in Texas, it's like, oh, in Texas again, this always happens in Texas. And if there's any even slight thing that happens in Texas, it's like, oh, it's all of a sudden big deal and this happens in Texas. Here's what I'm just throwing out to you. I haven't done the research, and neither of the people that I hear on Twitter, comments, what have you, they haven't done the research either. I'm going to propose that if you pulled out the research, if you calculated the data, that the number of mistakes made in Texas versus fights in the rest of the world, it would all wash out even. This is just something that happens in boxing, and I don't think that because something happens in Texas that we have a higher incidence of it. I'm just gonna, that's what I got for you. That's what I think, and I'm really tired of hearing Texas put on to the end of every time there's a mistake made when a fight happens in Texas. I'm just sick of it because there's nothing to back it up. There's nothing substantial to back it up. Now, if you want to come and say, no, Rachel, I think you're wrong, you can come at me and say that. That's fine. But so far, none of us are bringing data to the table. None of us have sat down and figured out the research of when this happens, how many times does it happen in Texas versus the rest of the world? None of us have done that. So I'm just saying that I'm sick of it. I'm sick of people bringing forth, opinions, making broad generalizations without the data to back it up. And I think that this is part of a larger issue, just in culture in general. That people like to say things without having the data to back it up. And with the onset of social media, these things that somebody might have just said to their small group of friends, and people are like, that's just so-and-so with their big mouth. and they're fine with it because they love that person. Now we have it on social media and it just seems so loud. Like, and you just read it like in text, black and white, and you can't hear like an inflection with it. You can't take into somebody's personality and be like, oh, they're just a loudmouth. I got friends who are loudmouths. I'm cool with them. I love them. I take all of them. I accept all of who they are. But it's harder to do on social media because, like, I don't know that you're just that type of person. Instead, like, I just read it and it's just there and I'm like, oh, it's so annoying. So I just wanted to express that. And yeah, I hope that you guys have a wonderful day. Hey, and like, comment, and subscribe because that really helps our channel grow and it helps other people see it. It makes us feel good and puts a smile on my face. And yeah, I think that you want to do that.